people? We are back. A2TP podcast, episode 212, and we are back for another episode of Us. It's your boy, International Walk.
It's your girl, Tasha, co-host with the mostest.
And we are back for another episode. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcast Player, FM. You can type us in and pop us up on any of those platforms, and we'll be there. Let's get right to the show. How are you?
I'm probably like a 9. One, because he just bust my bubble and said that he doesn't like our new set and he's going back to the desk. But before that, I was a 9.
Just had to get that out.
I did, because I like even the way the room feels better, but whatever. But I'm like a 9. I heard some bad, well, not heard, but saw some bad news today. Somebody that used to be on my team, and like we were Facebook and Instagram, followers of each other. And she was a really nice girl, and she passed away like suddenly. And I don't know any details. I just saw like people posting condolences and stuff like that. And it was, just one of them reminders of like how people were saying like, damn, we were just together laughing and having fun on Saturdays. Seems like she was at like some kind of family event or something. But that just kind of was like, dang. And again, I'm not like bummed out, sad, like we were friends, but it was just like, just seeing that, like, damn, like of course we know life is unexpected. You never know, like all of the things that people say. But it was just like, wow, like just one of those reminders to live every moment, enjoy the moments, enjoy the people you love and that love you, because you just never know what the next day brings. So that, was kind of a little heavy on my heart. I had talked to one of my other friends who they both used to report to me, but they, like Crystal, they had a closer relationship, and it was just like, damn, that was just, all of a sudden. So that was just like a little damper, but other than that, I'm okay. Finances an 8. Work is, I had to go through my head. Work is good. Work is a 10. No, I'm gonna say work is a 9. And I know we may talk about some things going on as far as the government, which is impacting work, and just some potentially challenging times. But then talking to people who express their fears and anxiety, it's not all butterflies and rainbows. And then physically I feel pretty good. I'm a 10. I won't complain. Nothing's hurting. Nothing's broken. Nothing's, wrong. So I'm grateful for that.
Cool.
How are you?
Mentally, I feel like a 8. What's the next again?
You don't want to provide any details, or just?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna play on your part. How you said you just bust my bubble. She just bust my bubble. It makes me, I don't even know the adjective to use, but it makes me feel a certain way when you always have to tell me something that you don't like that I do. Even from the smallest thing to the biggest thing, it's almost like you want me to struggle with the fact that you don't like something, and I don't like that. So that took a point off me. Finances is an 8. What's next? Work is a 10. Work is getting done. Work is moving. Everybody's happy, which that kind of shit, you're just waiting for the shoe to fall. But pray to the Lord that it doesn't. So everybody's happy. And physical, what?
You got new guys working with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Spanish guys.
Okay.
And
physically,
I feel like a 9. Like I feel good, but my body hurt like a lot. Like I pushed myself this week. Didn't feel like going to the gym today. Went anyway and still worked out. And I'm just fucking, like exhausted. Fatigue. That's the right word. Fatigue. Just need some rest.
Is it just from the gym? Do you feel like you're getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water?
It's a combination. I don't think it's a combination of water. I think it's a combination of sleep. It's a combination of worry. It's a combination of physicality.
Okay. So let's go back to your mental. Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay, so this is your show.
It's ours,
Okay, so you
but
said, but
mine.
you said I'm going back to my desk next week, and it's like you
That's
don't
not what I
eat.
said.
You did.
I did not. I said I'm going back to the desk. Like if you want to be, if you want to
Okay.
quote me. Like don't try to change it to your narrative.
Okay.
It was I'm going back to the desk next week.
I can still make the same point that I was
Okay.
going to make. So you said it's our show,
Yep.
but it's like you make that decision and you didn't even like take into consideration. It was just like this is what we're doing. So I mean, and it's either okay. We can't do both. So it's either one way or the other. But it's not even like a conversation to be had about.
When you bought this setup up and broached it, what's the word?
Um.
Approached me with it. I didn't have no pushback. We did it, and we did a few episodes like it. And I'm not saying I don't like it, but I'd rather be sitting at a desk. I'm more comfortable at a desk than I am here. I feel myself slouching. I don't like the way I always look on camera. So yeah, I feel like I'm more comfortable that way. Why would I want to do it this way if I'm not comfortable?
Okay, so since it's our show, I just think that maybe that change could have been communicated differently to say.
Then why don't you say that then instead of um the little girl stuff, like you burst my bubble because like all that stuff, instead of just communicating, hey, I really like the setup, can we talk about it? Like, what's wrong with saying that?
If it's nothing to talk about and you made the decision.
You just told me that something is to talk about.
No. What I'm saying is, if you made the decision, then that's fine.
No, but I'm giving you. I'm saying okay to what you're saying. There could have been a conversation. Okay, I received that. But why couldn't you just say, can we have a conversation about it? Why'd you have to do the little dance you did? That's the part that I don't like.
Because it appeared that you had already made a decision. And I'm not saying, because there is no compromise, right? But you can't do a sofa and a desk. So let me land my plane.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is that statement could have been more, I guess, say more words like, babe, I really don't feel comfortable with this. I don't like the way I look. So, starting next week, I think we should go back to the desk.
Okay, I didn't say more words. I received that. And I'm saying to you now that I'm uncomfortable. But that doesn't change the fact that you received what I did and took that and did something else to it. That doesn't change what you did. You act like your response.
I didn't give a response. I just told the camera that, okay.
We going off into a tangent because in any other, I'm starting to feel like I'm on a different planet. Like, that's a response in my world. I don't care if you don't think it's a response. It's a response to me. And that's how it feels. So that's how I took it. Your response to me saying, I want to put the desk back. You didn't say, like, you didn't turn around and say words to me, response, but you responded in a way of your actions. I'm down a point because he just burst my bubble. That whole thing where you could have not said that at all and just said, hey, I want to have a conversation about the desk. And it would have been like, okay.
I didn't think there was a conversation to be had. I just thought that you could have communicated the desire.
Which would have been conversation, but I missed the mark. But that don't mean you missed the mark too. I'm telling you, I missed the mark. Okay, I received that. I could have conversated that more. But you still missed the mark after I did.
Okay. What's your woes and woes for this week?
No woes at all. Just happy to be here. No woes. Wow is the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. That's awesome. We'll talk about that. But the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. I'm not like an Eagle fan, but I'm a football fan, and they play in good football, and I'd love to see that. And I like some individual players on the team, and I want to see them win. I also don't have a problem with the Chiefs winning because, just like the Patriots is winning, like I want to see greatness. So I like to watch these guys' careers, and Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. So that's a wow in itself. How about you?
Wait, I know we talked about this and you didn't agree with other people's sentiment, which I agree with you when people saying, oh, I want somebody else to win. I'm tired of seeing the Chiefs win. I know you didn't have that sentiment, but did people talk like that when it was Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Everybody hated the Patriots when they was winning because lots of people hated them because there was rumors that they
were
cheating.
cheating. Yeah.
So everybody hated them, and then they won 6 Super Bowls in 10 years. 15 years.
So people just felt like they wanted to see somebody else have a chance.
Yeah, it just gets to be redundant, I guess.
Is it like that in other sports? Like when, let's say, the Bulls, they were winning like I might be wrong, but were they winning like back-to-back champions?
They won back twice. So they did a three-peat twice.
Did people feel like that in that sports world? Like maybe 3 wasn't enough for them to feel like that?
No, people hated Michael Jordan. They didn't want to see him win, but he was such a spectacular player that, it's just par for the course. Like it's almost like he was like a Floyd Mayweather.
Mm.
Like he's so good, you tune it in to see like who can beat him, but really nobody can beat him.
Yeah. Okay. I was just asking because I didn't know if it was like just people just didn't like the Chiefs or if that was people's overall mentality when it came to repeated sports winners. So,
it does.
Okay.
It's a narrative there, and it never really happens in baseball. And a lot of them other sports, it's tough to happen in unless you have a anomaly like Michael Jordan.
Okay.
So even the LeBron James, they didn't do it. He won 4 championships, but he played for 20 years.
Okay.
So it's not the same.
All right. So my woe is not personal, but this is just coming with old age, and not to like beat a dead horse or be in a negative space. It is like the sudden deaths that you see. It's just a reminder of your own mortality. Like not just speaking about the former colleague, but the young gentleman who climbed the pole in celebration of the Eagles, fell, hit his head in critical condition, passed away, 18 years old. And it's like, yeah, people can say, you shouldn't climb the pole, but he had no idea that he was going to enjoy the Eagles game, go out and celebrate, do something childish and stupid, but die from it. And then I talked to my husband last week. I came home and was like a little emotional, or maybe a lot emotional. I seen a bad accident on the highway where I'm pretty sure the person didn't survive. And just thinking again, that person left out their house. Either they was on their way to or from somewhere and had no idea that they were going to wake up that morning. And I know like what I'm saying is like, duh, like that's what happens. People die every day. But when you see and hear of it, it just is one of those moments where if you allow it to, it can kind of bring you down. And I'm not saying I feel down, but it's just one of those moments where it's like, it just brings your mortality closer to your face and realize how fragile life is. But I'll end on an up note saying while the Eagles go into the Super Bowl, I can't front. I've never been like a huge football fan. I've tried to watch it here and there. My husband has wanted me to watch it more with him. And I think this might be the most games I've ever watched this season.
I don't know. I can't remember back. I don't think that you... Yeah, I guess so, because you don't usually participate in football watching.
Yeah, like and when I say most, I probably full games front to back, I've probably watched like 4 or 5. And it's what, 18?
Mm-hmm. 17.
18 weeks, 17 games, mm-hmm. Right? So I am joining the bandwagon, and I would like to be a fan. I don't want it to like raise my blood pressure and all that because the ups and downs I can't take. But I'm excited for the Super Bowl. I'm excited for, I hope, people don't go crazy. I know people gonna go crazy. They're gonna celebrate. But hopefully it doesn't get too out of control. Like no more killings and, hopefully nothing gets set on fire. Let's not loot. Like there's no reason to steal in celebration. Like, just enjoy. Have some fun. So, yeah.
I didn't know that you was going to go that deep into that. That would be one of your wows because you just snatched a gram off the board. Because we was going to really talk into the Super Bowl. But let's just do it now.
Okay.
The Eagles is in the Super Bowl. Somebody was climbing on a pole. They usually grease the poles in the city and to stop people from climbing up them. But yeah, a young kid, 18 years old, slipped and not hit his head. Like everybody said, he fell extremely hard, and they knew like at the moment,
can't even imagine,
something was like seriously wrong with him, and he had a brain injury, went into a coma, and he died.
I think
There
he
was
was a freshman
also
in college.
another female that drove a car into the crowd and hurt some people. I don't think anybody died in that situation.
I'm sorry if I can pause. They did. And I don't know why. I know initially people were just injured. I don't know why the news people never updated their story, because there was one young lady who I saw people post. Her name was Rhonda. I don't know her, but I saw people post that, initially she was injured, but she ended up dying.
That's just it's sad. And it's like to celebrate, and that's where you get the narrative that Eagles fans go too far, climbing poles, eating horse shit, running cars into crowds, like that kind of shit. Just if you're gonna go out there and if you think the city gonna allow you to go out and flood Broad Street and flood Frankfurt and Cotton and those known staples of the city to like celebrate, then do that. Just celebrate. Don't start fights at Frankfurt and Cotton. Somebody they shot a gun in the air to disperse the crowd or whatever. Like you can't play games like that. Like that's how that's how they say no more of that shit. Like so when the Eagles win, you can't do that shit no more. And it's a part of the staple of the city to go out to those landmarks and celebrate. But do just that. Celebrate. You ain't got to hit nobody with a car. You ain't got to jump no people. Ain't nobody got to get shot. Like everybody should be there because the team won and it unifies the city. Not the kid getting hurt on the pole, that's some shit you can't
predict
really
that.
plan. Yeah, it's
or
like you can put the grease on the poles, but I seen them climb the poles that's greased.
Yeah.
So it's like that's something you not unless a cop is standing there. But I mean, condolences to his family and just not trying to speak ill of the dead, but that's such a stupid thing to do is climb these fucking light poles and green signs, the street signs that we ride over. They high as shit.
Yeah.
Like in the car, they look like they right there, but they're high as hell. And if you come down on your head wrong, you're done.
My sister and her best friend and my niece were, out there celebrating. I mean, they weren't all, well, my sister, her best friend were, and my niece was with her friends. Around like 10 o'clock, I text them, that's enough, time to make it home. Because I had seen the story about the girl driving into the crowd. I hadn't even seen all the other stories yet, but I was like, okay, they about to set it off. I text them, that's enough. Dage texted me back like, all right, auntie, I'm on my way home now. Rob was like, I'm already home. And then my sister had got, she had linked up with her boyfriend. So, she was with him at the time, but I texted them all together. And I said, I'm texting Sierra, Rob, and Deja. Get home. Like, that's enough. Get out the streets. Go out there, have fun, celebrate. But after a while, you got to remove yourself from that. Because you just don't know. Somebody shooting in the crowd. How many years have they, like on New Year's when people randomly shoot up? You never know who that bullet is going to come down and hurt. It's like, celebrate responsibly. That needs to be, I would hope. I mean, it's a moot point because they probably aren't. I think there needs to be some sort of campaign sponsored by the Eagles in conjunction with the city, and whomever else, the fire department, somebody, police department, with a campaign ongoing. It's like you shouldn't have to tell people, but just say, celebrate responsibly, have fun, make your noise, get in the middle of the street, have a parade, woo-hoo all night long if you want. No fights, no guns, no violence. Like, you're celebrating a good thing, a win. Like, let's not do it. Let's not hurt people. It's like they probably feel like they're talking to a brick wall. I seen a police officer post. She's a friend of one of our family members, and she said, this city doesn't deserve a parade. It's horrible the things that y'all put us through last night. This was like the next morning, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said this city doesn't deserve a Super Bowl.
That's a little fucking harsh, but whatever. But that's a bit harsh. Like, you glad you don't have the power to
determine that, yeah.
But nonetheless, the Eagles are in the Super Bowl. We all want them to win. It unifies the city, makes everybody happy, makes those morning Wawa trips a lot more pleasant. You hold the door
everybody
for somebody.
About it.
Everybody saying, good morning, go Birds. Like, so
in the gym too.
Yeah, so it's at work, at the gym, and Wawa, like anywhere where you get gas, like everybody just like, hey, what's up, go Birds. And it's a unification of the city for them couple of hours or them couple of days or a week or so. everybody is happy and on the same page and smiling about the same thing. So it's good. It's good.
You know what I thought about how, and I know you always told me like fans are just fickle. I remember, I forget which week it was, but Nick Sirianni, he did something or didn't do something that people thought he should do, and it was so much conversation about he's going to get fired and blah blah blah. I think maybe it was a 2-point conversion that they thought he shouldn't have went for, or whatever, or whatever the situation. Now it's like, look at this. Look at it now.
Season 2-2, and they wanted to fire him.
Yeah,
so they started off the season 2-2, and they was that's for 2 weeks. So all they talked about was he should be fired. He should be fired. He should be fired. And the football season, although it's 17 games and it's one a week, it's a methodical. It's a marathon. Like you never know injuries, how it's going to play out, who's going to start clicking at the right time. And the Eagles ran off like 11, 12 straight wins. So you just never know. You just never know.
Do you think Saquon has been a difference maker this season?
Obviously. I mean, that's like one of those rhetorical questions.
I mean, I thought so, but you of course know way more about football than I do. You may have said,
he may be the greatest free agent signing in sports history.
Wow.
That's how good that guy is. And that goes over LeBron. Or LeBron, he left he went as a free agent. So, yeah, like, if they win the championship, hell yeah, he can be like the greatest free agent signing in the division in sports history.
So he wasn't a trade to the Eagles. No. Giants let him go and Eagles picked him up. Mm-hmm. Whoever let him go, do you think they will probably get fired from the Giants?
Well, it was the owner.
Oh,
so it
can't fire him.
Yeah,
okay,
can't fire him.
They just didn't renew his contract.
Yeah, and they didn't want to pay him the money.
Thanks, Giants owner.
Yeah. So we hope the Eagles win the Super Bowl. We rooting for the Birds to win the Super Bowl. Of course, I'm gonna be in front of the TV with some good food and watching the Super Bowl.
Get your money together, and I got you.
Yeah, God willing. Moving on to some more serious things. Trump is out here wilding.
The gentleman you heard. I don't want to say his name, but the gentleman you heard me talking to today. He was telling me how afraid he is. He kept calling him Mr. Donald.
I was about to tell you earlier, don't even bring his name up on the pod. Oh. Like, I don't even go into no dissertation about that man.
No, but he was like, I'm just so worried because of the things that Mr. Donald is doing. And I had to think, like, what? Like, it was just weird him saying that.
But Trump is out here wild, and he signed an executive order to declassify the files of the MLK and JFK assassinations. So, in doing some investigation, it seems like the JFK assassination footage has been out since 1969 or whatever. Like them seeing him getting his head blown off in the car. Maybe there's some more stuff to come behind the assassination about the CIA really doing it. But I'm sure a lot of that shit is going to be redacted. So although the files is out, that doesn't mean that
everything is visible.
Every citizen will be able to read everything. So I'm sure a lot of names, stuff that they don't want us to know will be redacted. But in looking at MLK's background, there's a lot of people, I would say like they rode for him. Like even in his death, they didn't put out some of the worst things about him, like sex parties and constant, what's the word I'm looking for? Promiscuity, infidelity, just all kinds of abhorrent things that you wouldn't think MLK was doing because he stood for something.
He was a
reverend and all this kind of stuff. He drank a fifth of liquor every day, every night.
He talked with a slur.
Yeah, so it's like as a preacher, you especially back then, that kind of shit was wrong. So let's just say you hear, MLK was, out here wilding back in the 70s and shit and doing all kinds of crazy shit that you never heard of until 2025. Does that make you look at MLK a little different?
No.
Poquito?
It doesn't, because he's a man, he's human, and I wouldn't be surprised because, I just wouldn't be surprised. Maybe if like we had found out whatever negative stuff 30 years ago, then I guess maybe being more naive, being younger, it would. But at this age and learning more about people in life, I just kind of feel like nothing will probably surprise me. And then also, it wouldn't change my view about his impact on the world, because two things can be true. Now I think if it was like some perverted things that he was doing, like about children or something, like, you know what I mean, I think that would be different. But when you look at it, that
He said he was having wild sex parties
with grown consenting people.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about kids, but
I mean,
again,
I
the
don't think it's
perception
right.
you have of a man, you're sitting here saying nothing changes, no matter
Because
what you hear, as long as it's not about children.
Because I guess it's not like I ever looked, and maybe because I don't want to sound stupid, but like I'm not like a history buff. Like you know of Dr. of Dr. Martin Luther King. You know of his speeches. You know the things that
you had a dream.
Right. You know the things that you had to learn in school. But I don't think we didn't come from that generation where like we kind of held him on. We knew what we were taught in schools, so it's not like I held him in some high reverence anyway. He was a historical figure that we learned about. We knew he did some good things. It ain't like, I think about him like wow, I really admired him. So that's where I guess it's kind of different, because I didn't have any personal feelings about him anyway. So it wouldn't really. He just is a historical figure to me who did some great things. Or tried to do some great things for the advancement of Black people. So it would be a shame if those negative things came out, because I feel like why do you want to?
Do you not feel the same reverence for like a Marcus Garvey or a Malcolm X? The people who kind of did the same, like people who fought for your people, like you don't feel that reverence for them at all, because you just think like, that's just history. I didn't learn that much about them, so I don't know.
No,
or is it just I do know about them, but I just don't feel reverence for them?
I did learn about them, and
be honest.
I don't really know many details about Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Malcolm X, you learn about, you see the movies, you hear the rhetoric and things like that. But when I say hold in reverence, I mean like somebody who is more. It's more because we're learning after the fact, like they were deceased. Whereas if like a President Obama, right, we were able to see and experience, and that's different because he was the president. And I'm not saying I hold him in reverence because he's a politician, and I think they're all the same anyway.
I was gonna say, you gotta clean that up.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if his impact was similar to their impact, us living in it, I think I would have a different personal attachment to it. Whereas with them, it's like, yeah, you learn about it and you respect you respect what they've done, but it's not that personal attachment where learning about bad stuff, I'm going to feel like I've been let down.
Yeah, I think the people who were racially discriminated against in that Jim Crow era, being
felt like he was their savior,
being bitten by dogs, I do think that they have a higher a reverence for him, because they actually walked it and seen what he was trying to do.
Right, and even if they didn't physically walk it, they were exactly.
Real time. So I understand what you're saying. For me, it would kind of make me look at him differently, but not in a negative way. But I'm just being honest and say I still wouldn't. I've done probably 10 book reports on Martin Luther King, so I know the stuff that they wanted us to know. All the shit that I found out today reading about him, it wasn't available for me to read when I was doing book reports on him. So it was like, I didn't know he drank a bottle of liquor every night. And it's like, these are his friends who are, that they get these quotes from, who was walking the lines with him. Just these young guys. And yeah, like he used to have a bunch of sex parties, and he always cheated on his wife. And it's like, if you trying to respect somebody as a man, it's almost like, you telling us to do something, but you not. And again, I don't know if your speeches wasn't, make sure you don't cheat on your wife. It was just, turn the other cheek, and, let's not act like them. When they go low, we go high, that kind of shit. So, I mean, it would make me look at you slightly different, like, you're not who I thought you were, but I'm not going to look at you like, I can't, you're down to me now. Like, you probably moved from a 9 to an 8. That's about it.
And
but I do look at you different.
And if we think about like our impact in the world, right? And we know, or those of you who've been here from the beginning, y'all might not know all the details, but those who are in our personal life, y'all know the details. They see the awesome man that you are today and the things that you're doing, but they know that you have a past, and it's like the
wasn't that awesome?
Huh?
Wasn't that awesome?
You are awesome today.
I was just saying. You said my past. I was saying I wasn't that awesome.
Oh yeah, you weren't that awesome in the past,
No.
And it's like the great things that you're doing, and you know, in the world today. If people were to know that, it's like, oh wow, like he was into that, he did those things. It doesn't change the impact that you're making today. Now, I'm not saying that goes for everybody,
right?
Because sometimes people, their past, it can be contradictory to the message that they're giving today.
I think that's when it slides to judgment. What I'm saying is not judgment. Like, I don't care one way or the other. You're still MLK. Like I said, you went from a 9 to an 8, so I'm not judging what you did. But for, like she's saying, some people will just
right. They will negate all of the great that he's done because of the indiscretions that he's had, and I don't like him. Having extramarital affairs has always been that's something that I've always known. The other stuff I haven't known about or ever heard about. But I don't feel like there's any purpose. There's no good purpose served in you knowing that he drank a fifth of liquor every day. How does that help, or how does that help anybody to know that information? Like, what are y'all trying to prove to release this information?
Well, what I think this is what I was getting to. I think the underlying issue in the Trump administration is to bring these negative things out about Martin Luther King, and then take away
Dr. Martin Luther King Day. I 100%
That's what I think the conspiracy and the ploy is to release this stuff. Again, I don't know if there's more stuff about JFK. I would be shocked to see if they did release anything that's new that would be like, oh my God, that really happened.
Yeah, because he had extramarital
even
affairs.
if they release some stuff and it's like, all right, they released a bunch of shit, 900 pages or something, but it didn't tell you anything.
And
like,
I think RFK was included too.
Yeah,
which now his son has just been appointed as the Director of Health and Human Services.
Yeah, so I mean, but if the ploy is to tarnish Martin Luther King's name because they want the day back, I could see that coming from the Trump administration. I could see that.
Yep, I
could see him doing some shit like that.
And I think that was part of the reason of having the inauguration on January 20th. Because, I mean, I think it's always in January, right? Last year we know it was January 6th because of what happened on January 6th. So you had a whole week. You had a whole weekend in between. You had January 6th. You had January 13th. And then you decided to do it on January 20th. And I don't know if that was his decision or not. Like, they give him a couple different days? And it just doesn't.
I know it was going to be outside, and then I know the weather changed, and then I know that, stuff about his shootings, and then they had to get some venues and move it inside. So I don't know if the logistics had anything to do with it, but it's plausible that I'm going to do this on this day because,
some of the attention.
Yeah, it takes away the shine of this day. There won't be news media saying it's MLK Day because it's inauguration day. It's a new president that's going in. So again, I could see his twisted mind thinking of some shit like that and him wanting to take back MLK Day. His other statutes and executive orders that he signed, I think personally he's just sitting back signing shit just to throw it out there just to see what shit does. If something sticks, okay. If not, then I ain't worried about it. A lot of this shit people are afraid of that he doesn't have the power to do. He's just like what you call fake news. He put some shit out there. Let me finish. He put some shit out there and he wants to scare everybody, make everybody, just think the world is coming to an end or he has all this power. And then 2 days later, a judge rescinds his order because and say he don't have the power to do that. Or something happens and this gets rescinded or this gets turned back. And it's just been 8 or 9 executive orders that have scared the shit out of people in the last 2 weeks. And 5 of them has been like rescinded, have been taken back, where a judge said no, you can't do that. And this whole stopping the funding with the federal employees and telling them that you can resign, and like that's a trap in itself, because if he don't want it to be jobs for federal employees, why do you think that he would pay you for 8 months if you resigned? Like, that just don't make no sense to me either. But another thing he did was roll back the DEI plan that the government had, which followed a bunch of stores saying, hey, okay, we don't have to do this anymore. We're going to roll back our plan. And it was a bunch of stores that we all shop at that said, we're not spending any money towards this program anymore. So no more DEI, aka affirmative action. Just what's your thoughts?
That's different though.
Okay, / affirmative action, but what's your
Yeah, because affirmative action it comes to like hiring people and things. DEI is more so giving people opportunities, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And then when people think about DEI, it's not just black and brown people. It's the LGBTQ community. It's women-owned businesses. It's people with disabilities. So it is an effort to ensure that all people outside of just the white American Christian man are giving equal and equitable opportunities, because equal is not always the way. Sometimes you have to provide equity to allow people the same opportunities as others. So I think, like you said, a lot of what he's doing is to cause civil unrest. He wants to ruffle feathers. I think part of it is also he's probably in that office and nobody can't tell him anything. Like, they probably say, sir, you don't have the authority. And who are you to tell me I don't have the authority? And they probably just say, okay. They go ahead, let him sign it. They submit it, and the judge comes back and tell him. And then he wants to act like, oh, I rescinded this. And it's like, nah, the judge turned it down because you don't have the authority to do it. I think it's just him beating his chest like a angry orange gorilla. And what's the orange gorilla? Orangutan. Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. Him just
what a country we live in, where you could be on camera and just call the president a gorilla and not like have a militia come to your house.
But that's what I think he just wants to let. And it's also giving people, even if he's not allowed to do some of these things, it's giving people insight into his thoughts and what he wants to do. The whole DEI initiative was, again, to not force businesses, but for businesses to show their hand if they were willing to participate in the whole initiative to drive
businesses, though. Well, that's what it does. I know what the program was for, but the loophole forced businesses, because consumers will feel like, and the black people have the mighty dollar. So if you don't participate in the program, then you're going to be outed on social media, and people won't want to shop at your store. So it's actually forcing the hand of people, regardless if you agree or not. That's what it is. It's
but you have businesses. The thing is, though, you have businesses that wanted to ride that coattail to get the dollars, and then you have some businesses who may have already been doing it, so they didn't need to have these huge campaigns, because it's like, we already, have a diverse workforce.
But
we
the
don't
campaign is to show everybody out there, hey, we're behind, almost like we're behind the LGBT thing, like when it was just them. Hey, we're behind this, and they put the flag up and let everybody know you're welcome here. It's like, okay, when people see that, if they're liberal, they say, okay, even if I don't really care about that, I'll shop or I'll eat here, because
that's
they're part of the program.
You are saying what I'm saying. People did that. It's almost like, look at me, exactly. So that you could attract dollars. Where you have other businesses who never did that because they didn't have to, because they were already doing it. So like the other stores who maybe they felt like, oh, well, let's join. Let's tell people that we're, let's jump on the bandwagon and do this too, so we can get people to shop here. Where other businesses was like, Nah, we cool. Like you didn't. You like there were some places that just operated business as usual because business as usual was already diversified, already had equitable workforces, already represented inclusion within their workforce, so they didn't have to wave a flag to say, look, we're giving people a fair chance too. And now that they are deciding for what their reasons.
I think they did though. I think those people you talking about did just to bring more dollars, and that those initiatives cost millions of dollars. So I think in essence now that they don't have to do it, I don't want to spend the money.
You think who did what?
Those businesses that you're saying that already had the equity in it and the plan and everything was business as usual. I still think they got on the bandwagon with the DEI stuff.
So but no, that's what I'm saying. Not all. Like think about like a old. I'm just this just popped in my head like an Old Navy. You never really saw them coming out and saying, "Hey, we support D." Like you. So now that you don't see them having to retract because they never initially came out to say it and create this whole big campaign around it.
Even if they was doing it, you're saying
right.
Just saying they never was in the forefront with it.
Exactly.
Because they're on the list of people who still participate.
Right, but what I'm saying is some businesses never had to, like people already knew like, okay, this business already represents what DEI was meant to do. Mm-hmm. So they didn't have to, go and jump these hurdles and like say, hey, hold up their token black person and say, look, we have black people working for us, because it was already part of their culture, so it wasn't a need to do it. Those businesses who did feel like, oh, let's hang the signs, let's change our logo, let's do this and do this and do that. And now they're realizing maybe it wasn't as profitable as they wanted it to be, or maybe they have a different agenda that's tied politically, so they feel like they have to pull back some, and they're putting their foot in their mouth.
A place like Walmart would be contradictory to what you're saying, because they were a big enough conglomerate where they didn't have to do that, and black people shop in Walmart more than white people who it was made for, and they rolled their thing back. It's so almost when the president it changed, it's almost like they took their thing away. And doing some reading about Target, everybody was up in arms about Target and them taking their DEI program away. Well, what I read today is that they still have it, and it's called At the Bullseye or some shit like that, but it's not called DEI anymore. It's called Being at the Bullseye or some shit like that. That has to do with their logo, obviously, because their logo is a bullseye. So I'm just putting that out there that Target still participates in that. What came about that with Tabitha Brown when she came and hit the Instagram, where she gave a little a PSA about she understands if Target gets boycotted, just don't boycott me and the other black people that are in Target. And you watched the video, you kind of expressed how you felt about, like you were on her side or whatever. But the masses, when you after a couple days and shit starts to brew, the masses thought she was tone deaf to get on the internet and say that, come in the store that you're boycotting, but still buy my stuff. And when you read about, when I was saying there's other ways you can sell your shit on your own website, or there's an alternate way. And what I found out is that she signed a licensing deal with Target to put her stuff in there. So she can't sell her stuff anywhere else until the deal is up and they give her shit back. So I see why she would try to save her business. Like you would say, okay, if you go to boycott Target, my stuff can't be anywhere else for a certain amount of years. But you should just lead with that. Don't lie and say, like, that's what people were saying. You had this whole dissertation about this and supporting black people when you should have just said, hey, I signed a licensing deal with these people. don't say you understand both sides. I understand you boycotting Target, but I still need you to come in here and buy my shit.
I don't understand why that's relevant for her to say I have a licensing deal. I mean, the fact that and she
Because
wasn't just speaking about her stuff, she was speaking about other black-owned business. Like, you can bankrupt us by not buying our products.
Yeah, and also a lot of people were saying she was given like $20 million for her stuff to be in all the Targets, which we be in Targets, and her shit's not even in there.
Yeah, never in ours.
In the article, her shit is in every Target in America. At least that's what it says. That her goods, her pots, her seasoning, something is in every Target in America. So she ain't gonna fail. And when you boycott, that's what boycotting is about. It's sacrifice. Everybody takes a little hit when you don't want to shop at a store. So somebody has to lose in that situation. I love Tabitha, so I'm not sitting here trying to bash Tabitha. I'm just speaking from what the masses were saying as far as it being tone deaf to get on there and not just say, hey, my stuff can't be anywhere else, so can you still buy my stuff? Can you still buy my stuff? But to get on there and say, I understand you wanting to boycott the store, which it should be, and I would if I could, but I can't, so I need you to come in. It's almost like you speaking out of both sides of your mouth. Like, I understand that point of the people is what I'm saying. And again, I love Tabitha Brown. I wish her nothing but the best, but I do understand what people are saying when they say you can, like, when rich people get to the point where they kind of get a little disconnected sometimes and you're not able to read the room. Maybe that wasn't the time for that. So that's all I'm saying.
But people was calling her out. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I disagree with that if that's what the masses were saying, because she wasn't just speaking for herself. She was speaking for other small-owned businesses who target, they sell their product, because not everybody has a licensing. And that makes sense that she has because you think her brand not just
no,
has
that's how it works. If you're in Target, you have a licensing deal for them to take your stuff and sell it, and you can't sell it anywhere else for 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, however long their licensing deal is. That's the system. That's the protocol.
Well, that's not true with all of her products, because Donna's Recipe you can buy at Ulta, and you can buy at Walmart, and you can buy on Amazon. So her products that are like her, like pots and cutting boards and that, and like her bowls and her thermoses, that stuff I think is where, because it has her name and the Target logo. But her other like her seasoning, we just saw at Walmart. So her seasoning, so I get what she's saying, what you're saying, the licensing deal about those specific Target product, like her air fryer, I think, because that has the Target.
So why can't you see that she has a licensing deal with Walmart also to have her seasonings deal? I can have a licensing deal with Walmart to have these products there. I can have a licensing deal with Target to have these products there, because Walmart doesn't want these products in their store.
No,
or they already have something.
But what I'm saying, so her seasoning is McCormick. So that's who she has the licensing deal with, and that can sell in whatever stores. But her other products, like her air fryer, her thermos, that has Target's logo on it. So that's like a Target product that she created. So that's why I'm saying her Donna's Recipe, I don't think she has that's hers. So she can sell that wherever she wants. So I get the fact the licensing deal makes sense. So she can't, like Donna's Recipe, McCormick, if she wanted to, she could pull those from Target and say, I'm not going to sell that there. But the other stuff that got their logo, you can't sell it anywhere else, because that's a Target product that they help you create in collaboration with your name. But for other businesses who may have, like, you remember we were in Walmart, but we were just looking at the seasonings of other people. So if they're in Target and only in Target, then it's different, or like a book or something. Well, I don't want to say books. That's a little different. All I'm saying is everybody who's has a black owned or a LGBTQ owned or a women owned business that's in Target, everybody ain't as big as Tabitha. So the fact that Tabitha might have got $20 million from them, that doesn't mean that the small owned businesses that sells, scarves in there has that kind of money. And from what I read from people who do brand deals with large big box stores is that a store will make a purchase order of a certain quantity of products to say, okay, we want this number of products from you, and we're going to sell them. They mark it up, sell it so they can make a profit. But now, if those products don't sell, then they're going to return them and they want their money back. So now this, let's just say $5,000 that they paid you for some of your product. Well, if it doesn't all sell and they got to send you back $3,000, that $5,000 you might have spent on doing other things, but now you got to get them $3,000 back.
So should everybody just if you're supposed to be boycotting a store, like shouldn't I don't understand how everybody's supposed to win in a boycott. Like I just don't get that. If her stuff was not in that store, she would be saying boycott the store.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my point. It's a store that it's like two things can be true at the same time. Your stuff, you want people to buy it, and that's why you're telling people to come in this store, because you want to save your stuff. And yeah, I'm going to say other black businesses, but you want to save your stuff, but you still want people to shop in a store that they shouldn't shop in.
That's why she said it's an unfortunate situation. That's why
That's where the tone deaf comes in. It's like I know. Well, I'm not. It's not even about you being smart. It's like
I don't think she's being tone deaf. I think she's actually being very transparent in saying, I know it's a difficult decision. It's not even. I know it's a conundrum that it's unfortunate that people have to face this. If you decide to boycott and not shop there, she said, I get it.
Transparency to me would have been, hey, listen, this store should be boycotted, but I have a brand deal or a licensing deal with them where the stuff that I make the most money, you only got to say all these words, but the stuff that I make the most money on is still going to be in this store, and I want y'all to buy it. Like, my stuff can't go anywhere else. But it seems like you made up a whole narrative around save the black brands, where in essence, I'm sure you care about the guy who sells scarves in the store, but you care about your shit. So transparency is transparency. Put it all on the table, not decide I don't have to put that on the table, but still call yourself being transparent. I
don't understand what people aren't getting that she didn't.
And I'm sure I'm sitting here next to you, and I don't quite understand how you feel about it. So again, we can agree to disagree. Like, all I'm saying is I love Tabitha, but I understand both sides. And you're acting like you only understand your side, is all I'm saying.
No, I understand her side.
Well, I understand her side, and I understand it being tone deaf at a point, is all I'm saying. You can't see that in a certain point in that whole PSA, it was a little bit tone deaf to get on the internet and say, hey, go in a store that you really don't want to go into just to buy my shit. It's like you wake up in the morning and everybody's mad at Target. Everybody's flipping out at Target and don't nobody want to go there, but you get on the internet and say, hey, just go there for me.
And other black-owned businesses.
Okay. Well, I think that was the caveat, in other black-owned businesses. But if let's just say we only go there for you and nobody else, she's not going to say, I'm going to give the money to the other black businesses so I can save them. So in essence, she care about her business.
But we don't know what she's doing behind the scenes and who she's helping and I just seen a video.
I'm not saying I know who she's helping.
Where she had asked him to go to a black-owned business that was about to close, and she told him, whatever money you give them, I'm gonna match it to help save this business. So I mean, again, people, everybody's mind doesn't think alike. That's what makes us human beings, right? We're not robots. I understood her message, and it is a conundrum when you feel like you want to boycott, but at the same time, it's like, okay, in boycotting, it may be detrimental to other people. And I'm sure if they could, they probably want to pull their things, but not everybody is probably able to because of contractual agreements or whatever the situation is, or you can't call them and say, send me my stuff back, I don't want you to sell it no more. It affects the bottom line. And who are we to tell people sacrifice your money? Yeah, in a boycott, you think...
I'm about to say, if you're boycotting something, that means you're stopping people from doing something. Like, how do you say,
the business
let's wait to boycott? Like, we should boycott this store, but let's do it after my shit is sold out. Like, no, I that's where the tone deaf comes in. Everything else I get, I understand. That little part there is like you're the masses and you feel like we shouldn't shop at this store. Like, we all agree with that. But you're telling people, hey, wait to do that until my shit is sold out, then we'll boycott.
I get it. Why
That's
cut your nose to spite your face? You gonna go in there and tell people don't put money in my pocket? You boycotting them is boycotting me. Yeah, and I gotta feed my family outside of Tabitha.
If society worked like that, where every time we were supposed to boycott something, we had to wait until it was the perfect time, nothing would ever get done. Nobody would ever move on. There would be no boycott. They would be pointless. It'd be useless to boycott if it'd be like, okay, it's time to boycott now. Hold up. Somebody got some interest in this shit. We got to wait a couple of weeks. It would be like, fuck this. I ain't boycotting at all then.
Guess what, though? Target, Walmart, especially Amazon, people ain't boycotting anyway.
No, hell no.
And when this dust settles and it's quiet, it's going to resume. When Prime Day comes right back around, it's going to resume anyway.
That's their biggest shopping day, so yeah. And supposedly the bullseye is the new DEI, so maybe that's a rollout to say, hey, we didn't stop. So still come in the store.
I know, is the was it at the bullseye? Is that a new program, or are they saying that has already been?
They just took the DEI off because
the
DEI
label off of it.
is a detriment with the government right now. If you have that on your label, which you get whatever you need from the government, if you have DEI in your program, it's a problem. So that's why they took it away and then they put in at the bullseye.
So that's kind of what makes...
It's starting to make sense now with all the stores. It's like...
Well, not just the stores. You remember the memorandum that was circulating amongst federal employees where they said, if you know a colleague that is doing DEI related work, they was encouraging them to report, because they said what had happened, people's titles were being changed, so it didn't reflect. Like at my job, we have a chief diversity officer, I think is her title. So in the government, they were changing people's titles so it didn't reflect that, but yet they were still doing the work to kind of make it hard to say, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. So they were asking people, if you know somebody that's doing work that is DEI related, tell us. So it sounds like that's what Target has done, just to remove that label so that they can probably still get whatever federal funding and blah. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure they all have lobbyists who fund them, and they're NRA all related. It's a bunch of shit going on with them. With all those stores and big conglomerates.
Makes sense.
3 grams.
I'm sorry I stole one earlier.
It's okay. In Mississippi, a judge tried to pass a motion for a masturbation ban. He says that...
Like in people's homes?
Yeah, he says that conception starts at erection. So...
A sperm can't grow into a baby. So how is that conception?
It starts there. He didn't say a sperm could grow. You see, you adding stuff, babe. He didn't say a sperm could grow into a baby. He just said it starts with the dick getting hard. That's basically what he's saying.
But that's not conception. I hear what you're saying, but he sounds stupid.
I agree, but I'm just saying, I get what he's saying. The whole conception, having a baby, having sex and having a baby. To get to that, the dick needs to get hard. That's what he's saying.
Okay.
That's all. I think it's stupid too, but I see where his brain was thinking. I put this stuff in my head and be like, what the hell? Why would he say something like that? What would make him think that? Okay, he's just saying when the dick gets hard, things can happen.
Next thing you know, they'll be banning oral sex because a baby isn't going to come out of that. Is that the thing he's saying? Don't do anything with your penis unless you're making a baby.
Yes.
So oral sex is going to be banned. Or he's going to want to. I'm not saying it's going to happen.
Well, he's a man, so probably not.
Well, he's a man. You don't think he enjoys jerking off?
Not as much as he likes blowjobs.
Are you speaking for him or you?
No, I'm just saying I'm speaking for... I mean, if a man had to choose, I'm sure he would choose the latter.
I would hope.
Like,
poor guy.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, what do you think? Masturbation ban.
How Mississippi?
I wonder if this goes for like a woman if she's flicking the bean.
Men probably. I mean, I would think
You're
a man
tantalizing
with
the situation. You're like, stuff could happen when you start
I would
jerking
think
off
a
and flicking the
man with
bean.
that kind of thought probably thinks a woman who masturbates needs to be stoned. Like, he probably thinks like that's so vile for a woman to do that.
To flick the bean.
Like, that is, I mean, you know, we've talked about this.
I don't know if you, I think you're a little freaky ass motherfucker, but you ain't like should be stoned.
We've talked about this since time immemorial, since the beginning of us, of places in the United States where we would never want to live. And Mississippi and Alabama has always been on that list for various reasons. But, you know, when we talk about like the Bible Belt stuff and that just twisted, thwarted Christian ideology, and y'all know how I feel about God, so I'm not saying that against Christianity, but that down south, deep southern white Christian ideology, you sound crazy.
Yeah.
You sound crazy. Conception, the word conception, that's like saying
that's like
dinner
two things meet. Conception.
That's like saying, you know, dinner starts in the grocery store. I mean, technically, yeah, I get it, but it ain't dinner when I buy the groceries until I cook it. So, I mean,
does dinner start in the grocery store?
No, dinner starts on the stove.
Dinner starts. See, you always do this where you will be so stubborn you can't even say like the obvious. You just said technically, yeah, right. Dinner does start in the grocery store.
I mean, yeah, because you get the
so when I say it, you like no.
You get the ingredients for dinner in the grocery store. Yeah, so you got
dinner
the ingredients
in the
for a baby.
Store.
You got the ingredients for conception.
Yeah, I walk around with the ingredients in my balls for a baby.
Yeah, but that ain't conception. Just like the groceries ain't.
He didn't say that the babies.
Stop pointing to it.
He didn't say that the babies in my balls was conception. You're adding stuff. He said it starts there. Just like dinner would start in the grocery store.
Okay.
Like
he's the one that's going to be a proponent for giving everybody saltpeter.
Yeah, saltpeter.
Saltpeter.
Yeah, salt. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That would be weird if everybody got put on saltpeter and we didn't know.
Yeah.
That's probably what they do in China. To
manage the birth
rate.
People
don't even know it over there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Gram 2. An off-duty officer, I think was from Chicago, was chasing a fugitive for about 3-4 years. And his
and he was a detective?
In his city, yeah. He was chasing a fugitive. Went on vacation to Disney World with his family. Guess who he saw?
The fugitive?
With his family. Walked up to him. Well, before he walked up to him, he saw him. He followed him, made sure it was him. And then he called some police in Florida, and then they walked up on him and was like, hey, ain't you such and such? And he was like, nah. And then they got his ID, and he was the dude.
There are no coincidences in life.
Like, locked his ass up. They'd have been like, God fucking damn!
Of all the places.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use God's name in vain, but
of all the places.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun, and I don't think this is one of your grams, just talking about like those weird situations of getting caught.
Hold on. You're a fugitive and you go to Disney World and go to jail.
Yeah. Well, it was a fugitive from, I want to say Venezuela, but I might be wrong, but he was from one of those Spanish countries. A drug lord, kingpin guy or whatever. And
bad motherfucker.
And the United States had been looking for him for years. And he went on this extravagant European vacation, and you know how they caught him?
How?
His wife posting on Instagram. She was posted on Instagram. They were in Paris, and she was posting so much the location they were able to track their hotel, and they went and arrested him. They went and arrested him. It was like he was an international drug lord, and they were able to follow her post. They had been watching her post. They were tracking until they found the hotel. And yep. So I mean, you just think when it's up, it's up.
You think you're a fugitive in America and you go to like Montecito or some shit like that and think let's get away, and you go to jail there.
Right.
Like, what the
and
fuck?
We on this extravagant vacation, and they taking me home in handcuffs.
Yeah.
But
Even just like going to Disney World, like you think.
Yeah, with your family.
Yeah, and it's like these cops walk up on me, and he wasn't paying them no mind because I guess he thinking I'm in Disney World. I ain't got no reason to be looking over my shoulder. And he was just leaning on the fence, and they walked right up on him. It was like,
do you know what he did?
No, didn't say that. They say he was wanted. But
wow.
I mean, he had to be wanted for something serious. If the guy was chasing him for a few years, and
for him to recognize his face, like
yep, the cop was with his family. I was like, hold up, motherfucker, I've been chasing back home. Like, I think that's him.
Do you believe in coincidences?
Yeah.
You don't think everything happens for a reason?
No.
Okay.
No, because again, you could get into baby killings and all that shit where you're not going to sit here and tell me reasons why.
Well, I'm not. Well, I'm okay. I'm not. I'm talking about.
I believe in fate. I don't believe in coincidences.
Okay.
I believe in fate. So.
Do you think some things are just an anomaly?
Yeah.
I have two coworkers. Right. Before they were, one of them was new to the team, but they were on maternity leave at the same time, working in different departments. They didn't really know each other. When the one girl came to the department, they realized they both had their sons on the same day within a couple hours apart, and both named their sons the same thing. But mind you, they did not know, like, they knew of each other, like, okay, she's an employee, I'm an employee, but they weren't, like, they didn't know each other like that. So that kind of stuff, and I don't know what could be the purpose, but it's like, wow, that's so weird. Y'all had your kids on the same day and named your kid the same thing?
I mean, that's a high probability, but I would think in any office space, or let's just say office space with 500 people, and you paid attention to some shit like that, it could probably happen. I mean, it's
highly
unlikely, but it could happen. Mm-hmm. Is all I'm saying, because the probability goes up.
And it's so funny because I was with them today and I found out one girl, she was 2 days past her due date and she got induced, so that's why she ended up having her baby that day. The other girl, she went into labor at like midnight, but she was in labor overnight and then ended up having a baby.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. But okay.
Yeah,
you went to Disney World. Those kids are going to be traumatized when they see Mickey Mouse. They're going to hate Mickey Mouse.
They took my daddy.
Yeah, they're going to hate.
That's what they're going to
say. And if they've been looking for him
for
this long, and they went and got him in Florida, like, he probably ain't come home for a long time, if ever. I asked what it was for, like, was it murder or something? But like, he ain't come.
It was like a short story and a little video, but it didn't get into what he was wanting.
Yeah, they're gonna hate Mickey.
Just he was a fugitive for some years.
Or kids talk about Disney World as they grow up, they gonna have PTSD.
And it's like, you think to yourself, you staying low, like, let me go from this state to this state and let me chill with my family. And motherfucking cop did the same thing. He went to Disney World with his goddamn family.
And it's crazy though. It makes me think, right?
Who would have think on those same week he went with his family.
And it makes me think, because if you're wanted like that, he probably drove because he probably knew we can't fly. It'll be flagged. They know who flying on the plane.
Be like,
so you drove from Chicago to Florida.
Where it'd be like it was on The Wire when Bodie and them was coming out the movies.
Oh yeah, you can't kill people on Easter.
No, when Bodie there was coming out the movies with their girl, and Herc and the cops was coming out with their girls, and they saw each other, and he was just like, "What's up?" Like, nothing. He's like, "We see y'all tomorrow." Yeah, we do. Y'all do what y'all do, but it's like a truce right now. Y'all with y'all girls, we with our girls. But when we get back out there, y'all try to chase us. We try to get away.
But after 3 years, he probably thought, I ain't never gonna see him again.
He could have been like, "Yo, bro, like, let's just get back to the state where we was and try to catch me there. Like, don't. This a layup right here. This lame. You ain't do no work right here, bro.
Put your ears in them handcuffs on."
That is crazy. Last Graham, what's your perception of Valentine's? I don't know if you ever, I would think that I know about you and your history since you was young, since I've been with you so long. And I don't think you've ever really had a Valentine, like flowers and roses and like that kind of thing. Maybe you have, maybe you just didn't tell me. I've never really had one, and we really don't celebrate Valentine's Day. But I guess growing up, did you want to, or like what's your perception of Valentine's Day? Do you think it's just a cheesy fucking holiday of pageantry that they raise everything for, or do you think like, hey, maybe you should stop? Not me, because I'm not, but maybe people should stop and celebrate Valentine's Day.
I think any reason to express and show your love, as much crazy stuff goes on in the world, I don't think there's
I
any.
knew he was gonna go there. I could see that. Though.
Well, let me finish. I don't think there's anything wrong with celebrating in however you choose, big or small. I do think there is a problem because if you know me, you know us. My husband buys me flowers regularly and multiple bouquets at a time because I like having them around my house. So like 4 to 5, sometimes 6 dozen roses at a time. I hate the fact that those very same roses that he buys me, that he probably pays one price for all 6, on Valentine's Day, 1 dozen costs that much. So I would not ever want you to do that. But you know, on the other end, like just doing something cheesy. I was in a meeting,
like a bear and chocolates.
No, I think, or even, I think that's
as cheesy as it gets.
I think that's cute and sweet. Like something
go to the
small
CVS and pick up a little bear,
or some little sweethearts.
Those
like,
chocolates that don't nobody eat with the nasty shit in the middle.
No, they're disgusting. I was in a meeting yesterday, and a husband and wife, and they were saying like, she's a chef, and she was like, you know, she's looking forward to Valentine's Day because that's the day he always cooks for her. And she's like, oh, it's coming up. I'm looking forward to, like, I'm wondering what he's going to cook. And, like, that's just their thing. Like, they don't go out to dinner. He cooks for her because, you know, she's always cooking. So, I mean, I think this year we were actually talking about, because I don't know, this has seemed to, something always is growing in popularity just to make more money. But Galentine's has become, you know, celebrated more amongst, like, girlfriends. Like, you know, celebrating your love, your friendships with your girls. And I don't think they do it for men. I don't know what that brawling time, I don't know what they would call it. But, you know, I think it's cute. I don't think there's no harm in it. I do think it's a problem though to pay, you know, 10 times the cost for something that
the next day will be given away.
But I get
how many roses you see in the trash the next day, like that the vendors couldn't sell.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And shit like that, and it'd be like, damn, y'all had these in the bucket for $35 for 12, and then the next day you just threw them on the ground.
But for some women, and this is, I mean, I don't even have to say it's no shade. Just I know that some people may be in relationships where getting flowers, it may not even be their thing, but getting flowers may not be a thing for them, and getting them on Valentine's Day may feel good. My girlfriend, one of my friends, she's actually, she doesn't like flowers. Like, you know, not as much as I do. So her husband, like, for like her birthday and stuff like that, you buy me balloons too, but things where people would normally get flowers, he gives her balloons instead. You know, so again, I don't think there's anything wrong with the recognition of it. I do think something is wrong with the consumerism, but you know, that ain't my business. People spend what they want to spend.
Yeah, it's the pageantry that they put on it that forces people, because if your woman likes that type of stuff and is looking forward to that type of stuff, you're forced to go out and buy a dozen roses for $70, and it's like, damn, like tomorrow, babe, I can get you 6 dozen. Like that's not a good use of the money, but it's the day. It's like, it's not Valentine's tomorrow, it's today. So yeah, the pageantry of it I don't like. And they do the same thing with Christmas, where they make people feel like they're not good enough if they can't do something. And it's like people get stressed out and think, I'm supposed to be doing all this shit for Christmas, and if I can't, because it's so many gift commercials on TV and this and that, and did you get this, and the kids want this, and the wife want this, and the husband want this, and sometimes it's just not feasible. And I'm not saying, and again, not everybody can spend $70 on a bouquet of flowers for a day. You know, not everybody can go to a prefix menu that's marked up for just the night. So yeah, and it's like, babe, I can take you this weekend and that dinner will be half the price.
Right.
You know, we got kids and shit. Like,
and I think too, just like with so many other things, social media has made people feel like, you know, that keeping up with the Joneses has always been a thing, but it's been taken to the extreme. People want to, you know, feel like they're in competition, not even feel competition. They look at other people and like, oh, they want what they want. You don't know what other people have to endure with in their lives. You know, some man may be buying this woman, you know, 17 dozen flowers because he whooped her ass 2 nights ago. And I'm not saying that that's why everybody, like, I absolutely know that's not the norm, but people have to stop, well, what is the word? I can't think of the word, but basically wanting other people's lives. Because you don't, all you know is what's in that Instagram picture, which that's really, and I'm okay with that. I'm not a person that believes, oh, you show me the good, you got to show me the bad. Absolutely not. It ain't nobody's business. But I think what people have to take accountability for is not envying and coveting what they see in other people's pictures, because you don't know their life.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yep.
That's a wrap. Act 2 the podcast, episode 212. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Podchaser, Google Podcast Player, FM. Thank you for the updates on those platforms.
And I'll get more, but we got a limit we can do at a time.
Yep, but she did put some new stuff up there, so check it out. It's your boy International Walk.
It's your girl Tasha, calls with the most.
If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.
I broke my nail. My finger looks ratchet.
I thought you was about to say you broke your finger.
Mm-mm.
I'm about to say we back on the